Old stories like long-lost friends, rodeos and late-night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, Cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage Podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, located in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. It's old Cody over here, and as always, I got my co-host with me, Mr. Rodeo Historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Hey, Jimbo, how you doing? And who do we have today?
Hey, Cody boy. Just another great day in Osage, man. And Cody, we got the man of the hour with us today. We got Ora Taton, just coming off the big win at Cheyenne a few days ago. That was his second time winning Cheyenne, which is pretty rare company there.
Kind of getting greedy
That's
there.
pretty short-lived. Yeah, he's getting greedy. But he's also won the national finals. He's won the Big Ben Johnson right here in our back door. And we're just one of the very best steer ropers going down the road today. And we're just happy to get to visit with him. And Ori, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage Podcast.
Thank you, Jimbo. Cody, thanks for letting me be on. Yeah, that's quite an intro over there.
Well,
yeah.
you earned it.
Well, I don't know. I won't disagree with your statistics at all, but yeah, they're just fun ropings to be at, all of them that you announced, all that you talked about.
Now, I'll tell you right now, I've never talked to a steer roper with an accent like yours.
That's funny.
I know you don't even know you got an accent, do you?
I hear accents all the time, but it's from the South.
Right. Has there ever been any national final steer ropers from South Dakota besides you?
Jess Tierney.
Okay. Yep. Right.
Yep. Yeah. There's a few of us, but yeah, the North Country don't tend to turn out very many steer ropers, but
mostly
there's a few of us.
Bronc riders is what they're known for. You know,
well known for that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Ori, before we get everything started, let's clear the air here and let's figure a couple things out for everybody that knows you and some folks that don't know you. Everybody that reads the sports news and see who won Cheyenne or watched you at Cheyenne on the Cowboy Channel, they all saw that your name's spelled O-R-A, and then Taton, how you spell that. So most folks would have pronounced that, I would assume, in a lot of places you'd probably get announced as Ora Taton. In fact, I called you Ora Taton for a number of years, and I considered you my friend. So, and I heard Jim Thompson, he told me one time, and he went through the whole story at a rope, and I just caught it out of the corner of my ear, that how your name is actually pronounced Ori and not Ora. And I was just wondering how that came around, or is that an old family name, or South Dakota pronunciation, or?
Well, and that part goes to all kinds of history. My grandfather's name was Ori, and it was spelled with an A. So it's been a long time happening. But I was actually born in Oklahoma, and I bet a lot of people don't know that either.
I just found out today, as a matter of fact, that your dad's family was all from just right up here across the line, Havana, Kansas, or somewhere right in there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
He ropes a lot like an Okie.
Well, I knew there was
he's got that Okie blood in him.
That's how he did doing all that winning.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories, and it has to do with Jim Thompson. You might have heard this one, but at Deadwood one year, he's pronouncing it Ora and found out that it is Ori. And so my mom is sitting in the grandstand, and he right over the speaker said, Shirley, and they're good friends, Shirley, why would you name him Ori and spell it with an A? And my mom answered back, because I'm his mom and I can. So anyway, yes, I had, when I first started grade school, school, teachers would argue with me how to spell my name. And they would have to call mom in order to make sure that who was right. So there's been controversy for a long time about how my name is spelled and pronounced. So don't feel bad.
My nephew's name is Pecos, and he spells his name Pakes, and I told him that he's just going to get called Pakes for the rest of his life anytime he enters
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many ways to spell things anymore. You never know how they're going to pronounce it. So,
well, what made you be a steer roper instead of a bronc rider growing up in South Dakota, Ori?
Well, I guess I'd have to start out with that. We roped a lot. Dad rode horses for a living a lot, and we got to rope a lot. I rode barebacks and broncs, and even a few bulls through junior high school, stuff like that. Rode a couple of broncs in college when I was there at Pratt, Kansas. So there was still some thought of it, but roping is where I knew I'd go for a long time. I've always loved to rope calves. I thought that was the cat's meow until I found out what steer roping was. And so it kind of surpassed it then. So I've always liked steer roping. It's a cowboy event. Got to make your horse, got to have your horse working. And there's a lot of different variables. Everybody knows that. So steer roping is cowboy. So that's what I wanted to be when I was growing up, was a cowboy and rope calves. So it just crossed over to steer roping and stayed there.
Hey, Ori, Jimbo, I'm going to inform Jimbo. The time I was rodeoing, he was rodeoing too, and he's out rodeoed me. He's still rodeoing, making the NFR this year. But I always thought that he was probably one of the better horn ropers I've seen in a long time. He very rarely misses, and every time he catches one, he draws a great big beautiful curl or knot. You know what I mean, Jimbo?
Right.
So what's your secret on roping horns, Ori?
I don't know if there is a secret. My dad always said if we could rope calves, you could rope steers, because you have your dip in your rope. I don't know as I'm that great of a horn roper. Appreciate the comment. I don't like to miss. It drives me nuts when you miss, because that's something you can work on at home. You could work on that enough to make it do what you want to do. I just like it when the loop goes on like it's supposed to. Curl comes around, carries your trip over where it's supposed to be. When it all comes together like that, that's what you're after. That's what you're striving for, is to do all that easily. So, yeah, it's a matter. That's the first step you have to do besides getting out of the barrier, is to get it caught. So that's a kind of an important thing.
Somebody told me that your dad taught you that you have to rope them, before you can do anything else. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think you got to rope one right out in front of across the line to win anything, but you got to rope him before you can win anything for sure. So
the catching part is very essential in the steer roping, and even any other event. But yeah, you got to get them caught in order to learn. And it takes a lot of cattle, so you got to get them caught in order to learn the rest of it too. So that's just the first step.
And that's why you're getting a throw, and you got to get a throw, and you got to rope them, or what you got time in.
Right.
Yeah. His dad, Jimbo, ropes horns just as good as him or anybody. He's got a style all his own, and he misses very, very rare to himself. And his son probably out ropes them all. Yeah. He's a heck of a roper too, especially on horns. And I've been hearing some big things about his heeling too. Right. Same with Ori. He's a great healer. It just seems like he can rope anything he decides he wants to rope, and ropes it very well.
Right.
You guys are being awful generous with the compliments, but I do like to rope. I always have. And Tyrell is bypassed me in the heeling. So yeah, he makes it look a lot easier, way more fun. And since he's been steer roping, yeah, he's fun to watch there too. There's a lot of things that impress me too. So yeah, fun to watch kids when they get to do what they want to do and make it work.
Who were some of your heroes growing up, Ori, that you looked up to roping besides your dad?
Geez, yeah. Dad and Walt up here were pretty a dominant force when they was team tying back in the day. South Dakota was one of the last states around that we knew of down up here. especially that team tied in their amateur rodeos. So yeah, Walt and Dad were always the first ones. After that, everybody wants to say the big names, and I'm going to say them too. But Guy Allen had a style all his own for a long time, and pretty well dominated forever, and everybody knows that. There's other guys that I like to watch, especially these days. Scott Snedeker is one of the best as far as every part of the run. That if you could break it down, there's just not really any flaws in it. Trevor Brazile for years was just quick and fascinating to watch because he stepped up everything so quickly, so fast. Made every step, but did it faster than everybody. The revolutionary guys that rope is what everybody wants to look at. So I'm going to be redundant saying all the big names, Roy Cooper, and you can even go back, Jim Davis, Sean Burchett. My style doesn't resemble very many of those guys, but you always have to look at everybody because there's always something you can learn. I just like steer roping. Glenn Barlow up here was one of the closest guys we got to watch over there in Gillette that did things different than the normal guy and was that much better than everybody. So when we first started going to the Wyoming Steer Open associations, Glenn was the dominant force over there for years. So of course you're going to watch him. Well, then you branch out and get to the world guys, all the rest of them. There's just too many to name. So I can't give you one or two names, but they're all good to watch. They're all heroes of mine anyway.
Right.
That Glenn Barlow, that's a blast from the past, Jimbo.
Yeah.
He made the finals several times.
Okay.
And he really was one of the best ropers in the world. And he just seemed like he just up and quit one day and decided to start ranching. Yeah. And then maybe he cracked out when he got older. But, yeah, he quit in possibly the prime of his roping career, possibly.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Or did you go?
Glenn,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you if you went to Cheyenne a lot as a little kid.
I'm not going to say a lot. We went a few times to watch, especially after we kind of learned of the steer open. That's the main thing we wanted to see. That's always fascinated me, that conditions at Cheyenne. If you ask the typical steer roper, nobody likes that setup because the fence is the 30-foot score on fresh cattle. Most of them don't like fresh cattle. I'm a little bit of a different sort, so I look at things a lot different. When the conditions start getting tough, I feel like they're playing into my court. They start giving me an advantage a little bit, moving me up a little bit, maybe to where I'm more even with some of the other guys. I like fresh cattle. That left fence has got me a couple of times, but it's also won me a lot of money there too. So the 30-foot score in the long arena, that's just being cowboy, paying attention to what cattle are when they're fresh. That's just the knowledge from working cattle, being able to see what they're going to do. Boy, what more can you have for a cowboy event as steer open in adverse conditions? And that's what I look at Cheyenne as.
Right.
Yeah, it really evens up the odds.
It's a very different outlook than anybody else does. I know that. So.
Well, you jumped out there this year. Were you the first or second roper in the short go?
I was the first one. Yep.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. And you threw that 13.8 at them or whatever it was. And that just, that put the pressure on them. And then those fresh cattle walking and they didn't feel like they could check their horse going to them and stuff because they had to beat 13.8 and it just blew open, blew up.
It does. Fresh cattle does that to, makes you think things differently. When I went that 13.6, I really thought a 12.6 or 8 would be a better number there's 12 guys behind you that can rope.
Right, sure.
So you want to be as fast as you can. The 13, I was thinking, there's enough guys there. Cole last year would have beat that last year. I was thinking third or fourth was going to be really good with that 13.6. It just surprised me that it got that high, that it went that far. So, yeah, I was surprised. I really was.
After that first steer, what was your game plan after that? I mean, he went 24 seconds on his first steer, and that booger almost got up.
Yeah, that was not my best run at all, even there. But the second run, I knew to get back to the short goal, I was just going to have to kind of see about as fast as I could be. And those steers had been run, so you knew you was going to be down the pin. I drew a decent one on that second run that didn't just leave as hard as some of them, and got him caught pretty quick and got him tied. I was really surprised I was that quick on a steer that ran that much. So all I could do was just go as fast as I could and see how it wound up. But cotton picking Shorty Garton, he's a long-time steer roper too. He had the same idea.
Yeah, he dang near got you. He was going fast.
Almost. Yes,
he was going fast. I don't really remember what happened to him, but he still got him a big old check out of that deal. Were you entered in the senior side pod on that one?
I was not. I should have been, but I was not.
Oh, my God. Oh, call me and Jimbo. We're going to pay your fees for half on any of those that come up for the rest of the year.
Yes, that's right.
Did they split all that money amongst you three? All the average money?
No, they actually designated a payout for all 13 places.
Oh, okay.
Before they ever found out who they were.
Okay.
And so then it just moved us three guys up to the top and moved everybody else down in the same order.
Yeah.
So fourth place got paid. Coleman Proctor got paid quite a bit. Yes.
How did they figure that? Just the way they came into the short go? I mean, how do you figure? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Just the way we came into the short go. Yes.
Okay. I got you.
But everybody got paid in the short round. It was a designated payout.
What 12th place play?
Say like 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
That ain't bad for a 12th place.
No.
At all.
That ain't bad for missing a steer, no.
So what are the conditions? What's all changed at Cheyenne since the first time you won it to the time you won it now? I hadn't even been there in several years.
Yeah. The arena, the atmosphere is pretty much the same, other than all of our slack is about 2 weeks ahead of time. Now we run.
He had to sit around for 2 weeks and think about that steer. I'm sorry for interrupting him, but gosh, that's a long time to think about the short round of Cheyenne, for sure.
Yes, and then we ran both steers on the same day, also in the slack. Usually it was a one head each day, had 2 days, one each day. But as far as the arena itself, it's been narrowed probably 3-4 times in the last, I'm going to say 30 years. They put in better grandstands, bigger grandstands. There's more buildings, VIP section, stuff like that. Actual conditions, there's not a whole lot. Just the mindset of a guy being in the arena, there's not a whole lot of change.
I didn't know if it felt a little more closed in with the. I saw there's a great big building that they built right there in the corner.
Yep. I guess I didn't notice it, but I knew it was there too. That's been a couple of years. So, yeah, I guess I didn't notice it, but I could see how someone would.
I just saw it on TV, and I was just wondering what it was like out there.
Right. Yep.
How many times have you won money at Cheyenne?
No,
have you counted it up?
No, I haven't. I've placed in the calf roping in the go round. Yeah, and the steer open has been really good to me. I won it that year, 19 years ago. I was second the next year. I think I've made the short go, I'm going to say 9 times, maybe. But I didn't win money every time. So,
but a lot of times you won the first go round and you didn't make the short go too.
I've done that too, yes. Yes, I have.
It'd be interesting to know, just the stats on maybe not how much money you've won, but just percentages of times that you've been there, anybody 10 times or more, to see where you rank on Cowboys just as far as winning money there when you nod your head. It's got to be one of the all-time money-winning records there, as far as
I don't know about the all-time.
Percentage of times placing. Maybe not money won, but percentage of times winning money.
Winning percentage.
His winning percentage in Cheyenne's got to be one of the greatest.
I don't know. I'd have to argue with you on that one. But, yeah, it'd be fun to know. There are several people that I can name. I say several. There's 2 guys I can name especially in the steer roping, that have made the finals a lot, and maybe not noticed as much as most. Will McBride and Tim Tierney. For a long time, Tim was there every year in the short go. I didn't necessarily win a ton of money or win it, but he was there a lot. So Cheyenne's different. Cheyenne's got that something to it.
He's placed more there than them, Jimbo. I know it.
I'll tell you a guy, though, go back a few years with Arnold Phelps that just won big at Cheyenne every year.
Jim Davis, my dad won a bunch at Cheyenne.
Yeah,
you know, there's
dad.
Trevor Brazile, he won a bunch at Cheyenne. You know, Cody Old seemed to win a bunch at Cheyenne. Ora Taton is one of those names that's in the conversation of winning a bunch at Cheyenne.
Whether he likes it or not, we're going to put his name on
Just
it.
winning percentage of times entered has got to be one of the greatest. I bet he's won place there, you know, if he's roped there 20 times, he's probably won money there 14 to 16 times, Jimbo.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whether it's in a go-round or the average.
You guys are awful generous, but yeah, it'd be fun to know that. That's right.
Yeah, it would be fun to know because, you know, a lot of times it was a funny joke around all the steer ropers that, you know, every time you nodded your head at Cheyenne, it was for a check normally. So,
well, that's a nice comment. That's a nice compliment. Yes.
It isn't real fun to be placing in the round and knowing you're after you at Cheyenne. That's for sure.
I doubt that.
Oh crap! It's Ora Taton. There, I'm getting knocked out of that round one notch anyway.
Who helped you with your steer horses and stuff growing up, or you know, when you want to be a steer roper?
Oh, Dad, by far.
Dad.
Yes. Dad's got a different way of thinking on a lot of theories on breaking horses, on what needs to be done, what they need, and a lot of Dad's theories are old style. Just kids and horses, they just work better when they're tired. When you're doing things, you know, make sure it's easy for the right thing and hard for the wrong thing. Being tired, go back to that every time. Having the horse rode down where all of the nonsense is gone, where I'm going to do this right because we're going to be here a while if I don't. And your kids think the same thing, but you got to translate that into your horses. Where picking the right kind of, not necessarily picking the right kind of horse to start with, but knowing how to make a not so good horse work real good. That's a big thing right there. And Dad, I think, does that really well. So I'm not near as good as Dad was, but I can pick up a few things he's telling me, and he does. He helps me a lot with my horses. He really does.
Right. Well, that was always old school, you know, to ride your steer horses. You know, they always said you wanted your steer horses sleepy and your calf horses wide awake, you know. When I was, you know, I heard that as a kid growing up, you know, but I don't know, do they still believe, I mean, do steer ropers still ride their horses like that or not so much?
There's been some changes to the theories. I'm not gonna delve into what I don't like about it, but things have changed enough to your outcome is the same, but the approach is different.
Right.
And you can read into that all you want, but I have had a couple of guys ask me several times, why do you head and heel and brand and trail cattle? Why do you cut? Why do you do everything on the steer horse? And the simple fact is that I can do all of those things on him. It makes him a better horse for whatever I'm doing on him. If he happens to be a steer horse, it's just going to make him a better steer horse when you can do everything. You don't have to pound one event down his throat to make him learn. He can be a handy horse. He should be a handy horse anywhere you ride him. So I use my horses, or try to, and anymore I don't have the ranch riding like I used to. So you got to find other ways to do it, and you just use them for everything, and they get good. That's what we're after anyway.
Ori, what would a typical, if you were getting ready for a roping, what would a typical practice session for you be like? Breakaway? I mean, tie 2 or 3 steer. Don't tie any steer. I mean, what would you normally do?
I don't have much for practice dummies or anything. I don't break away much. I really don't. When I go practice, it's full on. It's all out. I tie steers down. Once in a while, I might rope one and just trail him to the other end, not trick it. But I'm tied on with a full rope and strings. I'm every time we go, I'm expecting him to do what he's supposed to do in the steer roping, and that's what we're there for, is to continually rope the way I would want to rope in the arena.
Right.
Get to him, get him roped. When I get around the corner, expect that jerk. You drag him as far as I want, and when I say whoa or when I get off, then 2-3 steps, that's it. Don't go no more. Keep the rope tight. I might tie anywhere from 5 to 10 steers, depending on how bad a session we're having.
Yeah.
But I'm always tying steers. I don't on this horse I've got right now. That's my practice session. I run in. I got 12 or 15 steers. Run a couple, score a couple, run a couple, run one, score one, run 3, and score the last couple to make sure he's scoring. And that's my session. I rope cattle. I don't break away much, and I don't have dummies. Lay a steer down every once in a while. When I can talk my wife into help me hold him down, I'll tie a steer on the ground every once in a while. But seems like if I break away some, then that first couple of jerks at a rodeo, the horse don't know if I'm breakawaying or tying down. So I just tie cattle down. You go through a lot of cattle, but I think that's what I need on my horses. And me. Doesn't hurt me anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just the way it goes, I guess.
Hey, Ori, when you're starting a horse, how do you get one started before you start stepping down on one? Do you drive him, or do you just do it all in the arena, or do you do it all out in the pasture?
If I had pasture riding, it'd be great. Yes, the best thing is, just like always, having them tired, having them rode down, where they're not looking for something to goose at. Do a lot of heading, a lot of heeling, a lot of heading on a horse that I'm thinking might be a steer horse. Making sure you can pull the running to them and bracing for a corner and pulling. Get all that done before you ever start trying to think about a steer roping horse. Well, then 9 times out of 10, team tying was the best event there ever was to make a steer horse. To me, that was Dad and I said. That was our theory forever. You team tie heading, you team tie heeling. That horse learns how to brace on the corner, learns to face away, learns there's going to be a jerk, and then he learns how to stand on the end of it. Well, what better way to start a steer horse? So you just tie on and run down there, rope a steer, have a guy come around the corner and heel him. When you see that heel loop go on, just step down, okay? When the ropes come tight, steer comes tight, your horse has to stop because he's not going to pull everything. You holler whoa about that time to get that cue going into his mind, and keep him out on the end. Go tie your steer. Tell him it's a good job. You get 10 runs like that, you got a horse that you're almost ready to take a jackpot. So the team tying event, by far, is where I rely on a lot of my training for horses. And kids, people that want to come rope. I tell them that's the best way to start. You have more control on your cattle, your horse. You don't have to worry about getting down to that steer before it gets up, So it takes the hurrying out of the run. You get somebody that can run down here, set that steer, ride their horse, cock a leg back on the back, ride that horse till the heeler gets him caught, step down. If the steer goes down, the horse is plumb fine. You run down there, string that front leg, shuck the rope off of the heels, cross them in time. You have made your whole run for you, the steer, and your horse. So I just gave away all my secrets, didn't I?
Yeah, sure did.
Well, besides a great roper, he's always riding a good horse, Jimbo. I think that the first time he made the national finals, did your horse win the horse of the finals that year?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That was the horse I got from my uncle, Uncle Walt. Yep.
He showed up, didn't have a tie down on this horse, didn't have any shoes on this horse, nothing, and was definitely the best one there, Jimbo. One of the few guys you see roping at the national finals without a tie down on a horse, for sure.
No, it doesn't happen very often, that's for sure. So,
what's your rodeo schedule looking like this year? I see that you're only $8,000 out of the lead of the world, Ori.
Oh yeah, you guys are looking forward way up there. Don't get me wrong, the world title would be cool. I mean, it'd be just outstanding. My rodeo and my roping, I still feel like I'm quite a ways under Scott Snedeker, Cole Patterson, Jess Tierney. Them guys got a leg up on me. So the world title, yeah, I'm just tickled to have my name in the running to go into the finals, much less a world title.
Being only $8,000 out, being a great average roper like you, this time of year, the entries really seem to go down because people that do not have a shot at making the national finals, seems like they go home and try to regroup for the next year. And a lot of money starts changing hands real fast this time of year. It seems like you could get $8,000 won in a blink of an eye, and all someone else has to do is have a bad couple of weeks, and you got that momentum.
Yeah. There's some heavy thinking to that. That's for sure. I rodeo kind of especially this year where I had money won early. I went to some that I'd never been to before. And I didn't go to every one of them like everybody thinks I should. I've never rodeoed that way. I don't aspire to be on the road all the time. This year I've went to the ones I wanted to, and yeah, it's been a good year. So there's not a whole lot of rodeos left this year. There's a few, and there's some good ones. And I'll go to a few of them too. So my world title aspirations are pretty small, but I'm not quite rolling over to say that I've made the finals exactly where I want to make them. So yeah, that's not much of an answer, but that's the way it is.
They still entered in rodeos, and there's still money to be won, Jimbo. That's all I'm saying.
And there's so much money at the finals anymore too, you know.
Well, they still got Pendleton left. They still got some pretty big rodeos.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Yes, the standalone roping there in Deadwood. Baker adds a lot of money, Baker, Montana. So, and then there's always Amarella and Stephenville left. Those are right at the end of the year.
And they're huge.
Pendleton,
They're huge.
Walla,
Lots of money to be won.
Yes, they're still rodeoing.
Just Amarillo and Stephenville, those two rodeos by themselves, you know, a guy can win $6,000 pretty easy just from the outside looking in. You got to do it, but you know, him being a horseman, him being such a good rope smith coming into this time of year when tensions are high, people are a little stressed out. I look for him to rise to the top at the end of this year.
Well, he
Jimbo.
sure might. He sure might.
And then, you know, that 10-head average at the finals.
Right, there it is.
He's already won it. He's already won it half the time he's been there.
Yeah, he's 50% on the average at the finals.
You guys are good at looking things through the glass half full. That's for sure. That's good. That's good.
Well, sorry, Ori. Lost my train of thought there for a second.
Let's go back to Cheyenne just a minute. What, as a kid, you went there and your heroes roped there. What was it like to stand on that podium and accept that buckle and saddle for Cheyenne?
Oh, yeah. Dreams come true, that's for sure. One question that I got asked was the differences between the 19 years difference in the two times I won it.
Right.
The differences there. When won it the first time, yeah, that was. I mean, as high as I could go. At the time. That was the best I've done, best I could have ever done. Made the finals that year. Made the finals the year after that, and both years because of Cheyenne. I will admit, it was that big of a rodeo then. It's still a big rodeo now. There's others that come closer to it, but it's still the biggest one. The aspect of winning it after you've let's see, how do I say that? When you're 53 years old, maybe that's how I should start it. There is a different look at it, different outlook on all of it, and it is pretty sweet. There's a lot of people there, a lot of guys there that have been there a lot. Might not have had the success, but that rodeo alone is what everybody, even kids, everybody wants to win. And I've had a chance to do it twice, and that's just hard to put into words. I don't care what you say. That's a feather in the guy's hat that's pretty nice.
I'd say so.
You came down here one time, and we have a big steer open in town called the Ben Johnson. And Jimbo, this year I think that we had like 120 ropers, didn't we, Ori?
Yes, that's right.
It was a PRCA rodeo one year. They had it on a Saturday, and they started it. I think it went from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night or something. It
was hot
and dusty.
Yeah.
And nasty. Yeah, it was about like this year. Is what it was. Hot, dusty, and nasty. And he came out on top. Had you ever been down here to the Ben Johnson Steer Open before that, Ori?
Yes, I had been there 1 year before that. But that roping might have been one of the first times I really thought I could rope with guys, the bigger guys. The setup there is just phenomenal with the long arena. And we rope fresh cattle right here. The long box are just Oklahoma's famous for long boxes on them old arenas like that, and that's just cool. There's so many variables in a steer open to start with, much less the fresh cattle long box. That roping, especially the history of it, is phenomenal, unheard of. The dreams are made of that one. So to be able to say you've won that thing, there's another feather. I got a couple feathers in my hat, I guess. So, yeah.
You know, the guy that wins Cheyenne and he enters Pendleton a lot of times, looking back through the history books, that guy's won Pendleton. Have you thought about that any coming up? I think you got luck on your side on this one. I don't know how many Cowboys, Jimbo, through the years have won both same year. It's a thing. It would be a blast. That's for sure.
Be another feather for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll have a whole headdress here pretty quick, huh?
Yeah.
Average win, Pendleton win, Cheyenne win, two of them.
And
yeah.
Well, anyway, we're wishing you the best of luck out there.
Yeah, thank you. That first time I made the finals when I won Cheyenne, I won third in the average out there at Pendleton. So you might have something going.
Something's going. There's something in the water there. Every time I went to Pendleton, there was definitely something in my water, Jimbo. Holy moly, that place is real rough.
That's why you don't even remember.
Yeah, I made memories for all kinds of folks that I don't remember out there, Jimbo. Well, thank goodness. Or I'd be embarrassed about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I don't remember, or I would be embarrassed, probably.
A steer roper ought to stay out of that letterbuck place anyway.
Ooh-wee. I didn't even mean to go in there. I was looking for a church or something to go to hang out at for a little while, and I thought that was something. And
that's a good story, Cody.
That's what I told my wife when I talked to her later that night.
Right.
It was bad. That's a bad place, Jimbo. They don't serve beer there. They don't have anything. All they pretty much serve is straight letterbuck whiskey in there. I don't even know what it is, but it really gets to you.
Stout, isn't it?
I thought it was about midnight when I walked out of there, and it was 11 o'clock in the morning. So.
Funny how that room can do that. It's being open at different hours, you know.
Yeah, it opens right there when the slack's getting going good. It seems like I don't remember. Shoot.
Yep.
One of those deals.
Yeah.
But anyway, you've never been up there, have you, Jimbo?
No, I've never been.
Jimbo needs to go up there. He's never been up there. You know, Pendleton, they pull off. You know, in 4 days, what takes Cheyenne 10 days to pull off, because it couldn't be any longer than that.
Yeah.
But it's just really one of the greatest rodeos that holds on to
and the grass and everything. You know, it just makes it unique. You know,
I tell everybody the Pendleton Roundup is something that everyone needs to see. Even if you don't get to rope at it, you still need to go look at it, because there are differences, and the cowboy way to handle things always has to come into effect, especially in the steer open up there. And on the grass, and I'm not always that big of a fan of watching barrel racing, but that is a good place to watch barrel racing.
It's a real race.
You have a lot of variables in the barrel racing even. So yeah. If that doesn't give you enough incentive, Jimbo, then we'll have to talk again, because there's a lot of things that are really good to watch up there.
I bet, but dadgummit's a long ways up there.
I couldn't figure out how exactly they ran them steers from underneath the grandstands and stuff from people telling me about it. I never really fully understood until I went out there. And yeah, it's one of the few rodeos I'd probably go with you just to watch, Jimbo.
Them airplane flights don't take that long, Jim.
Yeah, but I'm not sure Lauren would let Cody go with me or anybody else.
Well, yeah, you'll have to work on that, but you'd have a good time when you go.
I could be permanently banned from that city and not even remember it, Jimbo.
Right? Yeah, I know it. We might get arrested on the way in.
Well, heck, what else you got for Ori today, Jimbo?
Well, what do you do for a living, Ori, besides rope?
Construction. Work for a company here in Rapid City that I build backyard utility sheds. Bring in a pile of lumber to the shop, and I bring it out of a shed. It's 8x10s, 10x20s, 12x20s. Something that you need to put your lawnmower and stuff like that in the backyard.
Now, do you build them on site? Or do you build them on site, or do you move them in?
I build them at the shop in the yard, and I deliver them to them usually.
Yeah.
I have built some on site, but it's mostly in the yard. We take set them on a flatbed dump truck and take them wherever they go. I set them down where they want them. Now they're yours.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about chicken coops? You make any of those?
I have made a few of them. Yeah. Yeah. Had a lady one time order a cat house. She wanted a house to put all of her cats in. So I built a 12x12 shed that's 8 foot tall, strictly for cats.
I thought he's talking about one of the places over in Nevada.
I knew where you was going with that.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yes.
Hey, what's some of the big steer opens up there? We have the Ben Johnson and the Wendy Ryan, and I think we used to have the San Angelo Roping Fiesta. But what's some of the big steer roping jackpots up there, Ori, that some of the people from down here may never have heard of?
Well, one of probably the biggest that's nationally known, actually, and it is, but it's a small group of guys. The WSRA, the Wyoming Steer Ropers Association, their finals are in Labor Day weekend in Buffalo, just south of Sheridan, Wyoming. Bighorn, Wyoming is where it's at. It's the Don King Days. And the fun part of it, it's a celebration of Don King, the saddle maker. And they have polo games. They have some other activities around. There's always some vendors around. And our steer open, or I say ours, the WSRA finals, we rope on the grass with no fences, and there's no rope and shoot. So it's a unique situation on the polo field out there, and the shoot is just an alley. It would resemble Pendleton, but we have no fences. We just have a setup of pins, the alley. When you nod, you are out in an open country, and you rope steers on. As Dad put it one year, Jim Thompson loves to say this adage: it's a 100-acre pool table, because it is nice and packed and green and short, and it is a fun roping.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go up there. I've never been to it, Jimbo.
Well, if your horse ever gets away dragging a steer and you're on the ground, what stops him? Do you just keep going until he gets tired, or what?
You got outriders there. You got people riding. There's always somebody around. But it's not that things don't happen, but you keep them at a minimum. One year, the setup down here at the rope and shoots is obviously the center of attention, but off to the right, you have cars lined up to, per se, in quotes, act as a fence. You just pull your car out there. There's a lot of them parked out there for, I'm going to say, 200 yards. And over here on the left, they have the clubhouse. They've got a little 2-rail fence kind of in front of the clubhouse, but there's people sitting on that side too. Okay, Dad goes one year, he goes out to rope a steer circles back to the right, and gets him roped just as he goes between two cars. So at that time, if things aren't messed up anywhere, if anything ain't hurt, you can continue the time. Well, right behind the first row of cars was a driveway where it was a little bit open. Well, the steer happened to duck to the right. Dad just followed him through and ducked to the left, tripped the steer, and tied him. And the flagger is still on the other side of the car to flag him. At that time, it was a legal run. Anymore, we have safety issues where we stop the clock and start them over. You get it with the rope on at the chute or at the alley. But there's a little bit of cowboy stuff, western stuff. They have a bronc ride in there too. That's the old style. They saddle them out in front of everybody, snub them up to a horse. The guy climbs over the back, gets on, roll right there on the grass, right there in front of all the people. And you know how bucking horses are. Sometimes they get where they're not supposed to. So it makes for interesting watching sometimes. So that's probably the most well-known one up here.
I went to one back in the early 70s. I wasn't roping. I was with my Uncle Joe in Gillette, Wyoming. It was a big jackpot at that time.
What Encampment, Wyoming used to have a big jackpot up there too, I believe.
Yes, they did. Actually had national finals up here one year, a couple of years, a long time ago. So, Laramie.
Yeah, Laramie. And 1962, I think it was, they had it at Douglas, Wyoming too.
Douglas, yep. Lots of steer ropers around Douglas.
Yep.
Well, there's some big-time steer roping families up there.
Yes, there is.
They got the Tillards. They got the Tatons. There's some big-time steer roping families.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have to brag on my dad one year. He actually won the world in the seniors one year. So, Dad's been probably one of the biggest influences I've had, for sure.
I told you that old booger, his dad, he ropes real good, Jimbo.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'd hate to match him in just a catching contest. You might be out there for 2 or 3 days before he misses. Well, Ori, we kind of just want to wish you good luck the rest of the year and wish you congratulations on winning Cheyenne the other day.
Thank you very much.
And it
is fun.
We sure appreciate you coming on today.
We'll be watching.
Yes, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for all you do.
We'll be following you and pulling for you, and you might as well win this thing.
We're pulling for the old guy all the time, aren't we, Jimbo?
It's about time. It's about time you won the world title. You know, you've been messing around.
Messing around too long. But.
Yeah.
The steer roping, they always say that old age and treachery overcomes youth and enthusiasm, and there's a bunch of young guns out there, but
there sure is.
They're fighting for the bottom holes where he's way up there in the standings right now.
Right.
I appreciate the compliments, fellas.
Consistency pays off, and then he seems to use the good ones when he draws a good one.
Right. Well,
places
you have
in
to.
the go round.
It's part of it.
Those old guys are hard to beat, Jimbo, at just about anything.
I know it, for sure.
They teach you a good lesson. Since he's from South Dakota, you're going to ask him the question.
Oh, about we do a little deal here where we kind of put you on the spot, but your Mount Rushmore, if you were making a Mount Rushmore of steer ropers, who'd be on it?
Oh boy. You talk about putting me on the spot.
I know it. It's hard to, it's easy to come up with one or two, but it's hard to come up that third or fourth one.
What about a Mount Rushmore of rodeos, Jimbo?
Yep.
How about a Mount Rushmore of rodeos? We've never asked anybody that.
Okay.
Of rodeo.
Yeah. Just a rodeo. So there's 4 rodeos. We're going to put them on this Mount Rushmore. Who are they?
You're talking to rodeos, not people.
No, not people. Just
no
rodeo.
People, just the rodeo. Yep. I already know 2 of them. He's going to say right off the bat.
Well, yeah. Those are the obvious ones, Cheyenne and Pendleton. But you're going to have to go back to. You're going to have some of them older ones, just like Cheyenne's been around forever. So what?
I'm throwing Pecos out there. Pecos in them.
There you go. Yep. I was thinking Dodge City, but yeah. Them rodeos have been around for a long time.
Prescott.
Pendleton and Cheyenne. Yes, Prescott. They finally started having steer open, so I guess I'd have to vote for them.
Ellensburg, that's a cool rodeo. I've always thought it was a neat rodeo.
And Calgary doesn't have steer open, but it's a
That's a big rodeo.
Yeah, it's a great rodeo. Just a
You know, I've always thought there's two rodeos. When I was roping calves, I always thought they'd be cool to steer rope at, and I never did go to either one of them to rope calves. I always wanted to go to Ponoka, Alberta, Canada, and Salinas, California. Now, if both of those would have steer rope, I think you could have something there. I think you'd have a lot of fun.
It'd be a good time. They're both set up for it. I don't know about that Salinas, California one. Don't know if let that one slide today. But
no, they ain't ever going to do it, but it should be fun to try.
Yeah, it would be.
Having that left box and a 40-foot, 30-foot score, not even fresh cattle, having them running. I mean, yeah, where the Indy Arena might sneak up on you by the time you get to them.
Yep.
There'd be some decisions to make, and depend on how well you handle them. So.
Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thanks for coming on today, Ori. We sure appreciate it, and we want to wish you luck for the rest of the year, man.
Thank you very much. Yes.
All right. Well, Jimbo, this was a good one, wasn't it?
Sure was. Real good one. Everybody,
until next week, this has been another episode of Cowboys of the Osage Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, Cowboys of the Osage.